Netflix has been in the news a lot lately, mostly not for some great things, but some pretty decent things at the same time. But it really does look like Netflix is kind of in this phase as they get ready to move into, ad-supported levels of their service, which is something that some time ago Netflix said they would never do. But, the industry is changing. The pure streaming game isn't the gold at the end of the rainbow that everybody thought it was going to be a couple years ago. They're getting ready to move into that. Interesting thing. Did you hear too that the ad-supported level, you will not have full HD? It only will go up to 720p. It won't go up to the full 1080.
Well, that's bullshit.
I mean, so that was an interesting thing too. But talking about them changing their ways, just before the pandemic hit, a report has come out that has said that Netflix was positioning themselves to buy Paramount Studios outright. This comes to us from the folks over at Bloomberg. They wrote, it's even expressed greater openness to large-scale mergers and acquisitions, talking about Netflix. Not long before the pandemic, Netflix explored a deal for Paramount Pictures, the studio behind The Godfather and Top Gun, according to two people familiar in the talks. Netflix wanted the studio's library and they wanted that iconic Paramount lot. But they were not interested in buying the cable networks owned by the same company, so talks didn't go anywhere, said the people who declined to be identified. So Netflix was actually in the neighborhood of looking to acquire one of the big major historic studios. And I think the valuation on them at the time was around $12 billion, which if you're a Netflix, that's doable. You could just cut a check and buy them outright at that point. And it's interesting that, number one, they wanted a lot. Because I remember when we were looking around, do you remember a couple of years ago, Rob, we were looking around, we were still doing stuff with the stream, and we were looking around everywhere around LA for potential studio space. And every real estate agent we talked to was, good luck. Because Netflix, Amazon, they're all buying up and leasing up every square foot of available space in town. So for Netflix to want to go after the Paramount lot, that makes a lot of sense for them. But here's the part where I bet they're going to kick themselves in the ass. They weren't interested in acquiring the channels, and I guess Paramount would only be a big package deal. But now that Paramount has things like Mayor of Kingstown, Yellowstone, which I believe is the best show on television. Hell, the new King of Tulsa trailer just came out, Stallone. That looks freaking awesome. I wonder if they might be kicking themselves a little bit, saying that could have been some new great content for Netflix. At any rate, Rob, you hear that Netflix was actually positioning itself to buy Paramount before the pandemic. It obviously didn't work out, but what do you think about that?
I honestly, I thought it was going to happen because I heard this. It was like you said, it was a great buy. I mean, that library alone, I think that Netflix's biggest problem is they believe too much in the fact that they're Netflix. I mean, Netflix is almost like a cult. And I think that people if you ever go in that building, I've done some interviews in there, and every floor is full of snacks and beautiful accoutrements. If you work at Netflix, it's like all your needs are taken care of. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a 2 Bunch Palms spa somewhere in that building. Who knows? But I mean, I think that one of the problems is Netflix is so attached to their business model, which is why they're so reluctant to jump in on streaming. I mean, they're so theatrical releasing, like with Knives Out, Glass Onion, that I think that they don't have, at the time, they didn't have the vision to see how they could make it work. And I understand why they wouldn't want the networks. They are the network.
Right.
That's their thing. They don't need Showtime. They don't need Nickelodeon. They don't need whatever. They don't need those things. But I think that was kind of short-sighted in the sense that acquire it all, because then you get everyone's libraries and figure out what you're going to do with it later. I mean, look, they haven't gone into live local news or anything like that. Who knows? Maybe it gives them weird places to expand. Not that it's part of their business model. I think they're too tied to, at least what we've seen them in the past do. They're too tied to what they are. And what they are was a little myopic, I think. And we've seen it. We saw it with their stock price dropping. I think they should have bought Paramount. I think it was a big mistake not to. And as you put it, if it was truly a $12 billion, the real estate alone would have probably paid for itself. Because how much are they paying in real estate in downtown Hollywood?
Yeah, and it should be pointed out too, give credit where it's due, they have been coming out of their shell. Again, the willing to experiment with the ad-based model, the thing that they are putting out, Glass Onion, even if it's limited theater, something they never would have done before. So they're getting there. Anyway, Chris, you hear about this. What part of this story stands out to you the most?
Oh, man, that Netflix once had money to buy things. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because their valuation pre-pandemic was much different than their own valuation today.
Well, Paramount, I'm feeling spicy this morning, Rob. Paramount had just a couple banger years, right? They came out of the pandemic strong. Yeah. They really, really did. Theatrically, television-wise, streaming-wise, all that good stuff. I mean, I understand why people would now really, really want these things. And, I'm not a very savvy business person, but I've played a lot of Monopoly. And
same thing.
Yeah, essentially. And you don't always have to buy things to use them. Sometimes they're things that you flip. All right. I do watch a lot of HGTV. Sometimes you flip things. Sometimes you repurpose things. And Netflix could have done some really, really cool stuff here with those properties that they didn't think they wanted at the time.
Make sex dungeons.
They could have made sex dungeons. They would have had a show to tell them how to do it.
Doesn't Netflix do that show?
Oh, man.
They did.
Netflix
Yes, they did. That little old English lady.
Wonderful. It's a delightful show, by the way.
It is hilarious, isn't it?
It's honestly sweet. I don't know. I'm off topic. But
well, I kind of a little gross on Monday, right?
It's like really hard.
You're not off topic.
I'm here for the segues.
Mondays are dirty, right?
Yeah.
So I really, really think this was a missed opportunity. It's unfortunate they didn't get in there when they could, because absolutely no way, no how they're going to get Paramount. These
there's
days.
No way now. And who could have predicted that Paramount was going to have the year that they're having now?
Man,
no one predicted.
That CEO.
Yeah,
he came out at CinemaCon with all the Sonic dancers being like, bitch.
He walked out there like he fucking owned Vegas. And it was like, good on you. And look at the year they've had. It's been hit after hit after hit.
He believed in theatrical releases.
That's right.
And they have a lot of really interesting bullets in the chamber, too.
They do.
Mention of possible sequels. And
they got a lot of good stuff coming.
That's not a bad thing to have.
Nope.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this whole thing? Should Netflix have pulled the trigger on this when they had the chance to? Maybe they dodged a bullet on this and that they didn't get it. They might be kind of overly stretched out today if they had. I don't know. However you guys see this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, DraftKings. NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball is back, so tip off the new season with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. So check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost up their winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Just go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place a stepped-up same-game parlay today. With payouts bigger than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook is where you need to go to bet on the NBA. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code Campea, that's CAMPEA. Make any $5 bet this week and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code Campea. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details.